4:30. I'm calling to order the special meeting of the City Council of the City of Bandera. We're at the Best Western Conference Center, 711 Main Street, Bandera, Texas, June the 10th, 2021. At this time, I'm going to move item 4 on our agenda up to under the call to order. Item 4 is discussion and possible action on the following items. A is update on the conversation and expectations of the interim city administrator. On the phone, we have Bruce and Dan Santee. Bruce Mills, I'm sorry, Bruce, I don't really know your last name, but he works with Max Westbrook, and they're the folks that are looking for an administrator for us and an interim administration, and Dan Santee, our attorney. So, Bruce, you want to lead off this conversation?
If I may, I want to
Go ahead, Rebecca.
give Bruce a break here for a second and just say that, so first of all, as you guys know, and Darcy, you weren't here, but the council decided to engage the services of Max Westbrook and his team to help us find a city administrator. And at that time, council thought also, well, let's go ahead and request that they place us with an interim city administrator to be available for the city at the time that Mr. Byrd vacates his seat on the 20th. But I had the opportunity, so I know Tony wanted this agenda item, so we could just discuss this process a little bit more. Bruce, I think also that our city secretary, Jill, will have some questions for you about the process. But on earlier today on a call, Bruce shared some information with me about the interim administrator piece, so I want to allow him to elaborate on that for council and give you guys the opportunity to say what you need to say and ask what you want to ask. Is that good? Okay, so Bruce?
Go, yeah, be real loud. It's really,
Okay.
Dan and I can hear.
I'm so sorry.
We can hear each other, yeah.
Were you able to hear what I just said? Oh.
Well, I got some of that from our conversation earlier, and then I didn't hear the rest, sorry.
Okay, so would you please just share with council what you shared with me on the phone earlier today about the challenges you're facing and yeah, just that.
Yeah, let me, and shut me up if I'm getting off track here, but what we briefly talked about was two different scopes, obviously trying to get you an interim administrator in Bandera ASAP. Had several phone calls, talked to a good friend of ours that we've worked with that does interim placement, Kerry Swift, with Texas First, to see if he had any contacts in that area that could plug in. We're just having a really, really hard time for, various reasons. It's going to be very difficult, we believe, for you all to get an interim in there. I think that if I were you all, I would put the emphasis on a short recruitment, advertisement, vetting process, and get the right individual in there for your permanent, and put the emphasis there. And I know general law, city mayor becomes administrator, and you mentioned that you had some backup support with a team that could help. I think that's a great idea, and we've seen that in several cities occur. And then we put our focus, and you put your energy in selecting your permanent.
First off, if council thinks someone is a better fit for administrator than me,
I can't hear a word.
If someone thinks that if council thinks that someone besides me is a better fit, my name was not really thrown out there, although in the past I have taken this position. But I believe an interim with the support of Linda and Matt can get the job done. So it's, of course, up to council who they want to appoint for an interim.
I'm gonna.
Yes, Rebecca.
So I want to jump in real quick here because I have not had the opportunity to discuss with the council the offer that I received with Linda Hubble, who you all know through our work with Simple City. Linda Hubble has essentially offered herself, her and Matt both, to be on a retainer with the city for like a consulting opportunity as it relates to city administrator role or projects. So my thinking, and after I talked with Bruce today about his challenges and the limitations around appointing an interim, is that if we, like Bruce said, focus on a short recruitment, really just hone in on getting a full-time candidates in through their process, which is what they're working on with us. We have kind of this opportunity for a backup to have people assisting us with specific things, if that's what we decide, that we just kind of mix this whole interim piece and try to get a full-time position filled as soon as possible, which in reality could be by the end of the month. Because I don't think anyone wants to see us have to put any of our current officers or elected officials or anyone in that role, especially not for any long period of time. And
You say that as if other elected officials are an option, and we were told in our closed session that they were not.
so, Dan, did you hear what Tony said? I bet you didn't. Hello?
Say that again.
I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Dan, can you hear me?
Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I muted my phone so I wouldn't have interference. Yes, I can hear both of you.
Okay, Dan, I apologize. Tony asked a question, and I just wanted some clarification. I thought you had stated before that it does not have to be the mayor to fill the role of the city administrator in the case of a vacancy. Is that correct, or is that incorrect?
The default is the mayor in a general law city, but if you want to appoint
Elected is what
someone else to that role, you always have that flexibility.
of another staff member.
I've had, that's correct, another staff member.
Tony,
I've had
can you
cities
say your
appoint the
question,
city
since I
secretary,
got it
I've had
wrong?
cities appoint the chief of police or the public works director.
I can't move the speaker. Would you like to move over here?
So, in our closed session before, I thought it was stated, can you hear me, Dan?
Can you hear Tony talking, Dan?
No, I cannot hear Tony talking.
Okay, good. Does that have a microphone on it too? Yes. Okay. So, Dan, can you hear me now?
Barely.
Can you hear me now? So, I thought that in closed session, you stated that the other elected officials were not an option to put in as an interim city administrator. That elected officials, the mayor was an only option, or others, is that incorrect?
I think you're right. I was mistaken.
No, I think the question is, well, first of all, I really don't want to get into closed session advice if we're in open session. But the general rule is that in the absence of a hired administrator, the mayor fulfills that duty in a general law city. I have not seen that true of appointing any other member of the council to fill that role, because the way the
That's my fault.
statute's written, it says that that's the mayor.
Hey, Dan, can I please
So
interrupt
other-
you? I'm sorry. That was my miscommunication. I don't think anyone is under that impression or wants to do that at all. So I think we can move on from that. That's my fault. I'm sorry. I don't know what's
Okay.
happening.
May I?
Please.
I mean, I will, of course, take on the responsibilities again, because we're at that point now where we've wound up almost all of our projects.
The issue is we don't want you to.
Ma'am?
The issue is that we
We
do
want
not
to-
want you
Yeah,
to.
and
get
I
a
agree.
full-time
I have no
person in
problem with
place.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, Tony, what he's saying is that he's not having any luck.
Exactly,
Right.
which is why we need to get an interim in place. And if Linda's willing to come in, we can't do it half. We're wasting money if somebody is not in the office, into the admin role, that can take authority of the city. Right now, our city administrator, and I'm speaking for him, but in the conversations we had before, and proof that he's shown us in the ordinances and in the personnel manual, he has no authority. The city is operating as if he has no authority, and there is no amount of money that we throw at that position until we get that fixed, until we have it in writing, who reports to who, and who has the bottom line authority, and it is enforced on a daily basis. We are never, ever, ever going to fix the issues that we have. I will say, I've saying it in open session, I've said it to everybody sitting here, and it's, I believe, and I told Terry when I talked to him about even applying for the job, every single person in their position is capable of doing their job. I believe that. I've said it to all of them. I've backed all of them. I am, and there's a rumor out there that there's some kind of job cuts or something. Putting an administrator in place with authority and actually trying to fix our personnel issues that have been plaguing us for 7+ years that I know about, and longer than that, until we start working together and start helping each other, and we put qualified people in a position, until every single person in the city knows who they report to, who they take direction from, and who has authority to work together to report to council, this is never going to be fixed, and we are going to continue to waste taxpayer money to do it.
Dan, are you hearing any of this?
No.
Okay, I'm going to
It
take
doesn't matter. I've said it before to him, and I've said it to everybody
I'm
else.
just going to take it off. So I just disconnected from the speaker. Can you guys hear me any better?
Hold on a second.
Okay. I just really want to make sure that Tony has the opportunity to express what she just did. And I don't want to try to paraphrase, Tony. Can you please?
So my frustration, as it was the last time I was on council, as it is now, as it is every time we hire somebody, you know, we stick them in this conundrum of a city that we have, that nobody knows who has authority, nobody knows who they report to who, and if for some reason it's sort of insinuated that somebody's given authority, then somebody comes along and takes that authority away, and it all goes out the window because everybody's manipulating the scenes. The bottom line is we will continue to pay and waste taxpayer money on this city by putting qualified people in positions of what we tell them is authority when they have no authority at all. So until we fix that piece of it, we're never going to get anywhere, and we're going to continue to waste money. I've said it in open session, I've said it in closed session, and I'm tired of hiding it. It is what it is. And so my point bringing this up now is that if we have Linda Hubble, which seems like
She won't come in as an interim.
okay, and
City
it
administrator.
will be a waste of money because they will not be called when they need to be called. You have to be in the city, involved, sitting right next. I think everybody needs to be in the same room because communication is a huge issue. If somebody happens to be out of the office, they're not kept in the loop. 2 other people know. Then next thing you know, it's like gossip all around the city. I mean, it's a crazy thing to be so small and have such communication issues. It blows my mind every day. And the hidden agendas that people think that other people have, and the moles that we think are there, and the little tidbits that we pass off as fact and information is crazy. We're not trying to reduce jobs. We are to the bare minimum to get the job done. And all I want is the people in their job to do what they're supposed to do, report to the right authority, and get the information, and get the job done. Period. That's all I want. I'm tired of the crazy.
I'm sorry.
Jerry?
Couldn't have said it better myself. I'm 100% in agreement. Really, so nothing left for me to say,
Thank you.
except I agree.
Okay.
Well, it seems to me right now, we're at a no interim sort of situation here, right? Is that where I'm going,
And that's
what
the
I'm getting?
scariest part. I agree.
So may I ask Bruce to give us some input on a timeline for a full-time city administrator? Because my goal is not to prolong that process. My goal would be to just hone in on that, focus on that, get a full-time person in. So Bruce, you got an earful just now, I know, about some opinions around here. But can you comment on a timeline or, what the process is going to be and what that's going to look like for us? And could we have someone in here by the end of the month, potentially?
Yes, and let me give you that timeline. We kind of brainstormed, Mayor Pro Tem. Max and I are working in another city, and we're up there on, as I said, a kind of accelerated timeline to get an administrator in place. And
Can we put it back on speaker?
what we would brainstorm with Max after our conversation. You would probably want to advertise the position in the email, in journal, word of mouth, get it out there. Or, I mean, you're going to have to do that for, say, 30 days. Probably 30 days is usually pretty ambitious, and have a close date. Now, what we'd be doing in a process-wise is as those resumes, applications come in,
you may, I'm sorry?
Thank you.
You may get, a big stack of applications, resumes, and then we will be going through those to pull out the qualified, potential qualified candidates that meet the minimum qualifications that you set out as a council, or you have in your job description, minimum quals, and then we're doing that simultaneously. So when the day that the process closes, that the application process closes, we're ready to follow up right behind that and do call it the assessment center interview process, whatever we come up with your support, and vet those qualified candidates. Hopefully, have it down to 4 or 5 that you want to be interviewing, and then take before you what we believe is the top candidate or top candidates to consider and make that selection. And I say this in every place we go to work. We could find a city administrator next week for Bandera, and that is not the answer. Obviously, you want someone that's going to be a fit for the community, and even going with the discussion we just had before you asked me that question, somebody that understands the community, understands the role, and is coming in to be a city administrator for a period of time. And our job, and the way Max and I see it, our job is to give you that individual that is a fit for the community, in this case, Bandera. I hope that answered your question.
I believe so, Bruce. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. We had some technical assistance and we swapped out the speakers, so I'm hoping that that's better for everyone. Suzanne?
Jerry?
So it sounds as if we're going to be longer than 30 days, right?
That's speculation.
I couldn't hear everything real well, and that's why I'm asking.
He said 30 days is a short timeline, right?
Okay.
So, but again, it's about finding the right person.
So Terry, is it a consideration that, I mean, is there a way to extend your resignation date? I mean, maybe negotiate something where you're still in that position, but maybe work 3 days a week for the next 30 days or something like that in order for us to get somebody in here? I'm just talking like as an option.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear that. Couldn't hear the question.
Okay, I would just want to make sure they can hear. Tony's question to the current city administrator was basically, is he willing and able to be an interim city administrator for a time period to extend after his resignation date of June 20th? So it was just a question for discussion.
Sure, thank you.
First, can I go first?
Jerry?
Meanwhile, Terry can still think about it, so he's not on the spot.
Yeah, well, and I just wanted to say that was what I was going to propose. Just initial thoughts or request, just like you did. Ask if he'd be willing to, because I think that's the most logical thing to do at this point. And I'd like to see it extended till the HR review is complete and a new city administrator is hired. So in the meantime, I would like to see us appointing. I guess that would be what we'd need to do. Appoint, reappoint.
I think you have to agree first.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just talking
I know,
to
but we're
at this
talking about
point.
him like he's not here and he's sitting right there.
Well, yeah, he isn't yet.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Darcy?
But, so yeah, I would definitely like to hear his opinion.
So I wasn't here, obviously, and I really wish I had been. So I don't know what all was discussed, I don't know. I know it was in your resignation letter, and I'm not asking for you to discuss anything in the open, but for me, as an employer and as someone who has, people that resign and I hire folks, I don't ever ask somebody to stay. If you wanna go, I want you to go. So I don't know what was in your resignation letter. I understand that's totally a different circumstance, but if it's something other than that, I would hope that you would say that you don't want to be here. If you don't want to be here, say you don't want to be here, so that's, without putting you on the spot, because that wouldn't be right for the city employees or the city. We'll figure it out. That's it.
May I ask something? So,
Sure.
Bruce, I realize that you have another meeting to get to, and I think you might
problem.
sense that we're kind of fumbling around with really how to proceed from here a little bit.
No problem.
So I can, unless anybody has a specific question for Bruce, I'd like to let him go.
And so you basically say 30 days, right?
So you basically said roughly 30 days, but that might be a tight expectation.
Well, it is, but I think it's ambitious, and you folks know that, it's just a matter of getting people to, people they wait to the last minute. 45 to 60 days is kind of probably the norm, but I believe 30, and again, let's see what comes in. You don't want to have to recast the net.
What you need to ask.
But I think 30 is minimum is workable. And then again, simultaneously, we're working. We're not just going to, don't wait 2 more weeks to start interview process and all. So, within a week to 10 days from close of advertisement, I believe you could have somebody probably at least offer the position. Now, when they can begin and all that, of course, is a whole different, conundrum.
Go ahead.
What was your,
Hi, it's Jill, the city secretary. My question was about the posting. Will you take care of that posting on TML
you
or
will.
whatever, or do I do that?
You will, but we will work hand in hand with you.
Okay.
And we'll talk through that. But yeah,
Okay.
we will. If you remember, you get on it. But I'll be asking. Obviously, you're the HR. I'm assuming too. You'll have job description. You'll have the how we want to advertise it, how we want to attract folks. But you've got the best information.
Well,
And,
I'll
but
email
you.
you. I'll email
Sure.
you tomorrow the most recent or the latest job description and what was posted
Perfect.
last time on TML, and then you can
Perfect.
critique it or change it or do whatever needs to be done from there.
That's great. We
Okay.
can get that done very quickly.
Okay.
And happy to. So just any time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce. We'll be in touch.
thank you, Bruce.
Okay, thank y'all very much. Dan, take care. Thank you.
All right, take care, Rich.
Yes, sir.
So it sounds to me like we just have to determine a closing date for the posting. And then he said between a week to 10 days out of that is when you do schedule your interviewing. So how long do you typically leave it posted?
We leave it posted until y'all get somebody. And if he can finalize it, then we'll post it tomorrow. We do it online, so it goes very quickly.
He specifically said there's a closing date of the posting.
Most places put closing dates.
30 days or 45.
I can put whatever council wants. It doesn't make me put a closing date. We leave it posted until y'all say we're gonna take applications until August 15th, which is obviously not what you want to do. So, you
Until
could
filled.
put it in the thing and say we want to close them by June 30th or whatever.
I
your
would
date
just
is.
suggest going with the advice of the company who's
Yeah.
having the operation,
Okay. I'll email him, like I said, the information, and then he can change it, fix it, put whatever he wants, and then I can get it posted as early as tomorrow, as long as he gives the okay.
Darcy?
My only issue, I think that if we decide on that, if we have a consensus on that, then we should say something like, based on what Bruce says, and give Jill the authority to change the date if we need to change it. Because if we don't put until filled, if we put 2 weeks, 30 days, whatever, if it's not filled at that time, then she's gotta come back to council and we have to open it back up, right?
I
No.
don't think so.
Okay. As long as that doesn't make it, take it off and then put it back, nothing to delay it. That's the only thing I'm trying to avoid.
We've always left them open-ended, though.
Are you saying, I'm sorry, are you all saying to leave it open indefinitely or put a closing?
I would put until filled. That's how I always put my postings and.
But, and I'm just wondering, doesn't that, maybe people will
Rebecca?
be a little bit more aggressive on getting their applications in if there is a closing date though, wouldn't there be? No? You don't think?
I kind of think we're wasting time here. We have already agreed and entered into a contract for services with a company, and they're gonna run it the way they run it. And I don't think there's any relevance in
Tony?
this right now, honestly.
I agree with Rebecca. Whatever, and Jill said it, you know, whatever end date that they say to put, let's put it. And I can't imagine that we can't go in and edit it if we decide at that point.
We can.
Yeah, at that point, if we don't get what we need, then we adjust accordingly. I mean,
I'm
Darcy?
just trying to keep it from having to come back to council, us pulling it off. So as long as we don't have to do that, I don't care.
Okay.
That's it. I didn't try to start a thing.
That took care of that.
I'm just saying.
All right, then. Terry, you want to talk to the council a little while about staying on, or what you would?
I wouldn't mind a closed session.
Oh, but you don't want to discuss this interim thing? Staying on until the council has selected another
I
admin?
would prefer a discuss a closed session.
Okay.
I think either a closed session schedule.
Dan, are you,
I'd like to address Darcy's issue.
Dan, are you able to hear Mr. Byrd?
No, I can't really hear him.
To move up his chair like right up there by you for executive sessions.
Did you hear Suzanne's question to Mr. Byrd?
Yeah, that's really not the item that's posted on the agenda. So, I mean, he's resigned and given an end date. And so if y'all are going to discuss something other than the fact that he's already resigned with an end date, that needs to be an agenda item. The item before you was just a discussion with regards to Max Westbrook's consulting, their discussion of the interim position itself. So.
Okay, then we'll take it into executive session and we'll talk about it then. Okay?
Okay.
Y'all ready to go?
Okay.
All right. Dan, thank you.
I think he's staying on for
Yep.
closed session.
Well, we'll do the consultation with attorneys thing. Okay, item 2 is closed session. The city council will convene in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 551074, personnel matter to deliberate the resignation and appointment or the employment of a public officer or employee, to wit, Administrator Terry Byrd exit interview. However, I'm also going to call us into executive session under Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney. So that being said, I'm recessing the regular session at 4:59.